This is a lecture on Chapter 5, Plans and Planning Techniques. And again, these videos are not done for every chapter. Some of the videos in the other assigned videos cover the material, but I do want to make sure that at least if there wasn't a video that was appropriate, that obviously we're covering the material. But also, I wanted to highlight some of the important things in the course. So that's the purpose of this video, and of course, as well as the others. So again, what we're looking at is the planning cycle, and basically planning has a central role. It's the first of the 4 functions, managerial functions. And again, you pause the video and just read through the text on the left. Basically, planning is about initial decision making. There's a planning process, and there's basically these steps aren't sacred, but you'll find that most planning processes do have these 5 steps, and it's determining an objective, which is usually a broad target, determining where you stand vis-a-vis or you where the company is in the organization, or where you stand versus the objective. You develop basically and by the way, step 2 is usually referred to as a gap analysis, where you are and where you want to be, and then you determine basically various scenarios or things that need to happen in order for you to progress towards the goal. You make a plan, which usually involves not only the objectives that you wanted that you discussed earlier, but also goals, and then you implement the plan and you evaluate results. Step 5, by the way, I mean, this is a very rudimentary, simple, step-by-step planning process. It's almost intuitive in a sense. I will say, though, that step 5 is usually not done very well in organizations or even just on an individual level. Implementation requires discipline and accountability. And once you have discipline, accountability, and measurements or metrics, then you can evaluate, and that's usually just not done very well. The interesting thing is there's been some studies, and this comes out of your textbook, and it's from a researcher, his last name is Jacques, and he basically looked at a group of people, and I'm not sure what the test case was, but it was a significant sample. And they found that most people can think about 3 months out. A few people can think about a year out, and very, very few people can think about 20 years. Now, most strategic plans are typically in the 10-year cycle, so it's somewhere between 1 and 10 years. And today, in a lot of organizations, you end up with these long-range plans, which are typically 3 years. So you can just see the diminishing returns you get as you're planning further out. So managers, in order for them to keep an eye on the ball, on strategy, and where they're going, it's a very difficult discipline to develop, but also it's a very rare skill. So there are a number of different ways people are planning, and I'm just going to highlight these, and I'm going to ask you to go look them up. They're in your textbook. There's also a little digging that you should do on your own. I'd encourage you to do that. But forecasting, and you know, when there's forecasting, typically you get qualitative and quantitative results, and both are appropriate. That is, someone collects data and someone just basically can kind of intuit based on their market knowledge where it's going to go. Contingency planning is that you have various backup plans, a main plan, but you have backup plans. Scenario planning actually is not like a backup plan. Scenario planning, and it's from a guy named Peter Schwartz, is where you have 4 or 5 different plans, and as the environment changes, you just adjust to the next plan. So you're basically expecting things to change, and you already have a plan in place. Benchmarking looks at the best of practice in an organization. Remember that gap analysis we talked about? That's what benchmarking does. Where it wants to be, the objective that it's seeking, that's the benchmark, and it says that's the best in practice. This is where we are. How do we get there? Participatory planning basically involves the full organization in planning, and it considers what it's already capable of. And then the next 2 really aren't I don't know, they're really not larger techniques. They're just the things that happen, I guess. Um, and they're not really even tools; they're just necessities, I guess I would regard them. And that's goal setting, trying to figure out what goals are. And objectives differ from goals. Goals have some type of time and quantity attached to them. So, like if you were to say, "I want to lose weight," that's great. That's an objective. But a goal would say, "I want to lose weight by a year from now, and I want to weigh 20 pounds less," or whatever. So objectives are big targets, goals are smaller targets. And um, the challenge is that once you set time and quantity, then you then you really have your task cut out for you, because you can be held accountable. Once you say time and quantity, it can be measured. So I'm done here. I'm gonna have you pause the video in just a minute, but these are basically 5 qualities of great goals: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. So I'm just, I want you to, as soon as I'm done talking here or now, and you can come back, whatever works for you. But I want you to look through these, and I want you to think about a goal that you've set in your life, a goal that you have for your life, and see if it qualifies. A lot of people will, a lot of people will have goals that are not specific. They have a time, like I'd really like to do this, and I'm going to start doing it this week. They don't have a way to measure it. Like they don't actually record it or count it down. The relevancy of the goal may not even be really well targeted. Like if people want to eat better, typically they just talk about prohibitions. Like I'm not going to have as much candy. What's really relevant is, don't have as much candy, but like what's really relevant is that I'm going to eat more fruits and vegetables, right? So pick a goal in your life, write something down, and then just see if it meets these 5 criteria. Now, organizations, good managers will make sure that they meet these 5 criteria. So, okay, we did it. Thanks.